And welcome to the September 17th, 2025 Lower Makefield Township Board of Supervisors meeting. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Start tonight with a roll call. Supervisor Ross.
Here.
Supervisor Lewis.
Present.
I am Supervisor Grenier. Supervisor Blundy will not be joining us this evening, and presently Supervisor McCartney is unable to be with us. Item number 4 is community announcements. Reminder, during this portion of the agenda, residents and youth organizations may call in to make a special announcement or contact the township at admin@lmt.org to request a special announcement be added to the agenda. The Friends of 5 Mile Woods are looking for volunteers to help with 5 Mile Woods cleanup. They're held the second Saturday of the month at 9 a.m. from July until October. If you have some free time and would love to volunteer, we would love your help. Please come in comfortable clothes that you don't mind getting dirty, and bring along your work gloves and water to stay hydrated. If you have any questions, you can email Monica Tierney at monicat@lmt.org. Join us for the Parks for Pollinators BioBlitz in September with guided pollinator walks on September 21st and 27th at 5 Mile Woods Preserve. Additional information can be found on the township website at www.lmt.org. The Lower Makefield Township Police Department is hosting a Town Watch informational meeting on Tuesday, September 23rd at 7 p.m. right here in the main meeting room of the Township Building, 1100 Edgewood Road in Yardley. The Environmental Advisory Council is hosting their Styrofoam collection event on Saturday, November 1st from 10 a.m. to noon, also right here at the Township Building. Along with your clean white Styrofoam, you can also bring natural corks, clean pill bottles with tops, and batteries. If you have any questions, you can check out the calendar on our website at lmt.org or reach out to the township at admin@lmt.org. And is there anything else we can add to that, or is that TBD?
That's TBD at this time.
Okay.
There may be additional items.
Thank you. Also, the board is deeply saddened by the passing of former Lower Makefield Township Supervisor Darwin J. Dobby Dobson, who served our community with dedication from 2012 to 2015. His commitment to service and the kindness he shared with so many will long be remembered, and we extend our heartfelt condolences to his family and loved ones. Any other board announcements? Or anything you want to say? Okay. I have one additional one tonight. I know the Lower Makefield Township's been mentioned a lot in Yardley Borough Council meetings of late, related to their police transition committee, I believe they set up and started having meetings last evening. There have been some statements made in the public that I just want to make sure we correct the record. Lower Makefield Township has not had any conversations with Yardley Borough, whether it's our Township Board of Supervisors or our staff or our police chief for that matter, related to the Yardley Borough Police Transition Committee, as they're calling it. Nobody's reached out to us about anything. They may do so. If they do, then we'll respond and we'll work with them on whatever they want to receive from us. But I just want to correct the record that there has been no conversations or discussions between the two communities. In addition to that, there have been some other comments made in the public about some members of the Yardley Borough Council and our chief, who used to be the chief in Yardley Borough, that I think are some unfortunate comments. And all I can say is that since Chief Kelly has joined us here in Lower Makefield, he's been nothing but a great addition, and I've seen wonderful changes to the police force and just the culture in general here in the township among staff, and I think he's been a great addition. So thank you, Chief. And I think everyone, I speak for the whole board when I say that. With that, I will move on to item number 5, public comment on non-agenda items. If you don't know the process, come on up, sir. Basically, please state your name, whether or not you're a township resident, and try to keep your comments to 3 minutes. If there's something we need to have you follow up on with a staff member, we'll direct you as such. And if there's a lot of people making comments, not a lot of people in the room tonight, but in the event that there were, try to not repeat comments from other people. With that, take it away, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to hear that you had mentioned Police Chief Kelly, because I had an opportunity to speak to the police chief just momentarily before this meeting started. And I said, Chief Kelly, the reason why I'm here is because I have to come in and give a shout out to Police Chief Kelly, who has been doing an admirable, outstanding job in this department, along with his staff, and what they have been doing to help Zubaydah Foundation. You see, they come out every Friday for our religious service. This day on Fridays is one of the major significant days in the religion of Islam. Excuse me, my name is Hasib Abdur Rahman. I am a representative, public relations for Zubaydah Foundation. I'm grateful and honored to be speaking for just a couple of minutes. I won't go over 3. Just having a wonderful opportunity to come before you, this body. A couple of years ago, when we completed the Zubaydah Foundation, at that time, I think it was about 5 board of supervisors at that time that came and had a moment to, because we had a press conference. You can speak if you, well, likewise, the same thing is going to occur. In a couple of months, we are just on the tail end of completing the second building, and we're going to come out and, we'd like you to come out. We're going to set something out, and we will be honored when that moment comes, but you will be contacted in advance. Like I said, I wanted to give thanks and appreciation to Police Chief Joseph D. Kelly III. Also, congratulations to Captain Tim Reeves. Tim works very closely with myself to keep things smooth and running orderly on this process of Friday's religious service. Also, Jennifer Walker, who is the assistant to the chief of police. Admirable job, excellent job. Anytime I go there, she takes care of whatever services to be rendered on behalf of the police chief, and it's just been a wonderful process. And Jennifer's assistant is Carol. If you're looking at this program tonight, I want to apologize because I don't have your last name because I wasn't quick enough to write your last name. But Carol and everybody on the chief staff knows who she is. So, like I said, I wanted to give kudos to them. The Lower Makefield Police Department has made the parishioners at Zubaydah Foundation feel just as comfortable as can be. Do I have one more minute? One more? Okay. Just as comfortable as can be on Fridays when they come in, and all they want to do is just worship. And it's very significant during these period of times with so much going on. So it is crucial that we have the officers there. They're there from 11:30 to 3:30 every Friday. And I just want to give thanks and appreciation on behalf of Zubaydah Foundation. And once again, Chief, thank you so much. You cannot imagine how the parishioners there at Zubaydah Foundation are made to feel so comfortable, and their children as well. So once again, thank you so much. More details will come with regards to the closing of the building operations. And what I'd like to do is, I hope there's enough cards here. This is the president.
Yeah, I'll distribute them. Thank you, sir.
That card there, and I hope it will be enough for all the supervisors, is Dr. Abdul Qadir, who has been here before. He's the president of Zubaydah Foundation. And Murtazar Afzar, who is not here with me, he is the chief executive officer. So you will hear those names quite often. Once again, thank you so much. Have a blessed evening. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me a moment.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Not as of right now. I think you did a great
Which
job
holiday
presenting
is
it.
Friday? What holiday is Friday?
Excuse me?
Which holiday is for Friday?
No, I know, on Friday is the religious day of worship, every Friday.
Okay.
Synonymous to Christian on
Yep, yeah,
Sunday,
yeah.
Judaism
Just like
on
that, yeah, yeah.
Saturday.
Yep.
So the Muslim day of worship is on Friday.
Awesome.
And it's pretty busy out there because, you know, school is back in session as far as Charles Bain Middle School is concerned, you know. So, but that's the major day, okay?
Awesome.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much. All right, have a good evening.
Likewise. Any other public comment on non-agenda items tonight? Anyone online or on the phone?
No one online.
All right, thank you. Then I'll close public comment, move on to consent agenda items. Anyone want to?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda items as listed in the agenda.
Second?
All right. Anyone from the public have any issues? All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Item number 7, community development, is consider the adoption of the Lower Makefield Township floodplain management ordinance. Again, this is one we advertised either last meeting or the meeting before, right?
I believe it was the meeting before. The ordinance has been advertised in the Bucks County Courier-Times. The ordinance has been available on our website and here at the Township Building for the general public to look at if they have any questions. And you may recall that this ordinance is partly to make it a standalone ordinance, which makes it a little easier to find for people looking for it and to enforce. And the other thing is, in order to help comply with our community rating system flood insurance discount, when they had reviewed our ordinance, they had flagged a few items that needed tweaking in there, and we have done that so we can maintain our discount that we currently get, which is 15%.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the Township Floodplain Management Ordinance.
I'll second.
All right. One question, did we get any public comment at all on the one published?
No.
Okay, just checking. All right. Any board comment? Any public comment? Call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, motion carries 3-0. Engineers report. We have our engineer here if you have any questions. Otherwise, if you don't, I can move on. We are covering some items related to engineering, I think, tonight, but not in the engineers report relative to updates. All right, moving right along. Item number 9, manager's report, is consider authorizing the 4th Amendment to the Golf Course Management Agreement. Mr. Kratzer?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, members of the board. As the chair has noted, before you is the Fourth Amendment to the Golf Course Management Agreement that was prepared by your solicitor. There was some prior discussions that were had regarding a request for proposal process. Ultimately, from a timing standpoint, that was going to be a challenge to do this year. However, the township will look to proceed with that process that was previously discussed. The agreement is pretty simple in terms of its scope. It extends the term of the existing agreement through December 31st of 2026, so it's a single-year extension. Deletes the automatic renewal provisions in the golf course management agreement. Again, that will ensure that we can go through whatever process is deemed appropriate in 2026, and then also maintains the existing 2025 base management fee for 2026. So again, single-year extension, deletes the automatic renewal provision, and then maintains the current rate of compensation that's paid to the management company. With that, we're happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
I'm going to start with a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Thanks. A couple quick questions, or just so everyone knows. Like you said, just to reiterate it, the goal here is to give us time, extend it so we have a contract in place, but ultimately we want to review the overall contract to see if there's ways to reshape it, different terms, change how we address the golf course moving forward in the future so it benefits the township.
Yep.
And this will give us a little bit of time to do that, but we still have to move forward with doing that. Has this been presented to Spirit?
Spirit is agreeable to the terms that are before them, so,
All right.
before you, so yes.
All right. That's all I have. Any other board members have questions? All right. Any public comment? No one online? No one online. All right. Call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries 3-0. Public Works, this is a project update on the Highland Drive drainage improvements project that is starting up pretty soon.
Good evening, Board. Just a few quick things. We're finally kicking off the Highland Drive Drainage Improvement Project. First and foremost, I believe it's posted on the website that we'll be having an open house for any residents that have any questions or anything. That'll be held on Tuesday, September 23rd at 7 p.m. But again, we'll go over anything, again, residents in the impact area, any questions, things like that. The contractor is getting started this upcoming week, the week of the 29th, is probably signage is already posted. The detour would begin September 29th. So that would be closing Highland Drive between Taylorsville Road and Upton. And then from that point forward, they'll proceed with the demolition of the culvert and begin all the other ancillary objects of the project. It's anticipated the road will be closed for the duration until the new culvert's set, which is anticipated right before Christmas. So around that three-month mark is the duration of the project. During that span, there's close coordination with PA American Water. They need to cross the stream, and so does Pico Gas needs to relocate a gas line. So we're be dependent upon those two utility providers during that closure period to ensure we stay on schedule. Be happy to answer any questions that the board may have or any residents.
So I might have a few. When they remove the culvert or demo the existing culvert, it sounds like the plan isn't to install the new culvert until sometime in December. Is that?
That is
Fair-
correct,
correct?
yes. So
Okay.
the culvert will be demolished. Then we basically turn the work site over to PICO and PA American Water to do their utility relocations.
Okay.
Once that work is complete, it kind of lines up with the culvert fabrication that the contractor would then do the sub-base preparations, the foundation work, and then the culvert would be delivered and set.
Okay. I'm just thinking
And that, just to clarify, that, I'm sorry, the demo is required in order to permit the utility relocations.
That is correct.
So-
That's why the culvert needs to be demoed.
So if people are questioning why the demolition and then the duration of closure, it's not just the fabric, it's,
Correct. It is for the utility providers to do their work within that area.
it's not just going to be open for the sake of being open.
Correct. That is correct.
Is there any, I anticipate the question because there are a lot of folks between Maple Vale and Hillwood Terrace that go back and forth because of the access to the canal. There's folks that like to walk their dogs from one place to the other. It's all the stuff, right? Is there any,
There's no means
No.
for pedestrian crossings.
None
It would
at
be an
all.
active construction site at that
Okay.
point, yes.
I want to make sure. And then, of course, you and I have spoken about the Pennsbury bus routes. A lot of them come in from right there. So have you heard from Pennsbury yet about?
We've notified the Director of Transportation. She is aware of it. I just did a follow-up a couple days ago to confirm that. I did leave her voicemail, didn't hear back, but she did understand. They were rerouting to ensure that no buses use that section of road, and they're prepared for the closure.
There were some issues with the initial bus stops to start the year, so I'm hopeful that this goes smoother.
Correct.
And then, in terms of the group, there's 6, 7, maybe 8 homes between Taylorsville and the western extent of the work.
Correct.
Just past Upton. I've heard from folks there. I actually live in that section, so of course I'm going to hear from folks there. Just concerns about safety during construction, make sure they can get in and out of their driveways and what it's going to look like relative to getting in and out of the neighborhood. In the
Yeah,
general area.
we've had, during the pre-construction meeting and post-meetings, the contractor's fully aware to maintain, conversation with all the residents if and when a driveway could be blocked for a day during utility work. But they're understanding that those 6 residents do need full access to their homes at all times. I'll make sure Junie's team is providing the RPR services for the project, so I'll make sure that their site inspector makes contact with all 6 residents, and they have his contact information if any, close contact or close coordination or any questions that the residents may have.
If there are any issues, who who should, if there
We-
are any issues during the project, who's serving as sort of our internal PM or point of contact?
Yeah, they could reach out to Public
you?
Works, but yeah, if anyone has any kind of questions or comments, they could reach out to Public Works, and we can make sure Junie's team is fully aware.
Okay. And I'll say this, anyone can reach out to me as well.
Correct.
I will help as well, but
Yeah,
prefer that they reach
absolutely.
out to you,
Feel
make
free to
sure
reach
that
out to me in
we'll
Public
get the
Works,
better
and then
answer from
I
you.
can, follow up with the RPR that's on site, providing construction observations.
excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And then just to reiterate, the workshop or the informational meeting, again, will be,
It's, right, correct, Dave? Tuesday the 23rd at 7, correct?
That is correct, yes. Which we just heard in terms of the community announcements as well. There's a police-related meeting occurring that evening, so we'll have to work through venue, but it'll be either I would imagine either the community center or this room if we're able to work through that with the police department. And again, we'll make sure that the location is updated online and also pushed out via social media prior to the event.
okay. Anything else residents should be aware of?
As of right now, that's all I would really know. Like I said, we'll have our bi-weekly meetings with the contractor. If anything comes up, I'll be sure to share it with the board at subsequent meetings.
Okay. And then, I think the final piece of it is when repaving actually occurs, and that'll be, they're not going to leave it open, obviously, but they're going to, final
The
repaving's
goal
not
is,
until May, right?
the goal is, again, depending on how our winter is around Christmas, we've had mild ones, we've had terrible ones, is to get the road open for traffic. Again, it may be base course, it may be rough paving, if weather doesn't allow final paving and a nice pretty wearing course, but is to get it open right around the Christmas holiday for the new year for traffic. And then again, once weather allows to do the final beautiful paving, that would take place in the springtime.
Excellent. And updates to come as we know more, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the one thing I was somewhat concerned about is the length of time. This is going to be a couple months. If we experience a significant rain event during that time period, will this cause us issues that we normally wouldn't have?
It would probably almost, I'd hate to say it must be a little bit better because the culvert's not there. So their coffer-dam system is intended to overtop, right? We can't hold back, we can't bypass a storm. It's, so as soon as a rain event happens, their work site would always be protected at the end of the day for flow-through water, let's say. So,
Right.
so as soon as rain would happen or, it's a storm, the sandbags that are there just protecting daily work would just overtop and the water would continue flowing down the stream.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the questions I brought up separately earlier was if it's open and we have an end of October hurricane come up, like has happened in years past, what the protection, excuse me, to your point, what the protections would be. And what that could, obviously hurricanes can bring a lot of rain and can be massive storms sometimes, but what that would look like or could look
It would just, and again, when we did South Drive Culvert 2 years ago, similar. We had a storm come through. The contractor's coffer-dam overtopped as intended, and the flow went right through the work site. The intent is not to hold back water; it's just to provide a dry area during the day, and then if storms happen overnight, the area gets flooded.
Okay. Any other board comments or questions? Any public comments or questions? Good. And for those that want to attend, if there are no questions tonight, people, or you think about them later, there's plenty of time to ask questions at the,
The
open
workshop,
house.
open house, absolutely. Mhm.
cool. All right, well, I appreciate the update.
No worries.
Looking
Thank
forward
you.
to start stuff happening. All right, item number 11 is Solicitor's Report. We have 3 items to consider tonight. Madam Solicitor?
We do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The minutes should reflect that the supervisors present this evening did meet in executive session immediately prior to this meeting to discuss an employment issue, litigation issues, and real estate matters. With that, the first thing to consider is Resolution 25-13 for the adoption of the use of personal electronic devices and workplace recording policies. You had that in your packet prior to, you have it in your packet this evening. This has been discussed, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have with reference to this proposed resolution.
All right, why don't we start with our motion? Anyone?
I move that we approve Resolution 25-13, adopting the use of personal electronic devices and workplace recording policy.
Second?
Okay.
All right, with any board comments or questions?
Just, we revised this one so that it doesn't require written approval, so that a department head can provide general approval for things that are legitimately operational, training, or investigatory purposes. So that's a change from when we first started talking about this.
Correct. I
Yeah.
believe that was one of the few comments that were
Yep.
made. Yes.
Yeah, no, and this is designed, obviously, technology's changing in terms of what AI can do in the workplace. Some of it is extraordinarily positive. Some of it's also very frustrating if you use it a lot. But this is to set up a reasonable policy so that folks know that they're not always being recorded, or they know clearly when they are for internal stuff. And again, all of that stuff is available for people, you know, in terms of discovery and stuff. So that's why we have the policy.
Thank you. Any other board comment? Any public comment? That'll call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Hearing none opposed, carries 3-0. Next item?
Thank you. Next item is to authorize the advertisement of an amendment to the saldo relating to the tree bank. For background, this has been before your planning commission, and they did have some comments in your packet. Was what the planning commission reviewed with their comments redlined and highlighted. So there were comments, but we are ready for this to be voted on for advertisement this evening, if you're so inclined. We did send correspondence to Bucks County Planning Commission in anticipation of this being voted upon for advertisement one way or another.
And just for anyone looking at the agenda, we have a couple different tree-related
Correct.
ordinance updates on the agenda tonight, so we want to make sure that we don't get any of the elements confused, because they are both important. And like, you know, this is another update to our award-winning, what I'll call our award-winning. I'm not sure if it has won awards, but it's definitely a very nice tree ordinance that has served as a template for many around the state and the region.
That is correct.
That being said, would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
all right.
The one question I have, there was the planning commission made a change related to native shrubs and herbaceous perennials and native ground covers. That was from the planning commission, right?
Yep.
That is correct.
My understanding is that our EAC would prefer that language stay in.
Yes, that's correct, because I wasn't aware.
Jim, you're going
You're going to have to,
come up
yeah,
to
if
the
you
mic.
want to, yeah. Oof.
You want to wait for public comment, or do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, do we have, actually, do you want to take public comment first?
Well, so I can, as planning commission liaison, I can.
Oh, sure, yeah,
That's why I
yeah.
can speak to that.
Okay.
So the planning commission, at their meeting, removed, first, the native ground covers and herbaceous perennials, and then wasn't as, I would say, wasn't as strong on the shrubs. I think that was a little more open.
That is correct.
yeah.
They really left it to this board to
This
make that
board.
decision. They really didn't have a strong opinion one way or another.
And the reason for that, and I was speaking with them about this in detail, because this is my academic background right here, is doing this stuff. The native, the herbaceous perennials, which is your grasses and wildflowers and stuff like that, was removed because anyone who's ever planted those knows that if you don't maintain them with a lot of intensity over time, even within just a few years, you will have non-native invasives take over the native perennials. So they end up not being very successful. Now, the goal of the tree ordinance is to replace trees. So the mitigation is in kind. So it's functions and values. And this is pretty much the standard when it comes to habitat mitigation is to replace in kind. So the herbaceous, when you look at from a federal level, state level, when you're looking at doing a mitigation, which ultimately this tree replacement ordinance is, you want to replace the same functions and values, and replacing trees with herbaceous stuff just isn't the same. Like if you're doing a wetland mitigation, for example, and you cut down a forested wetland, you would not be allowed to replace it with an herbaceous wetland because it's not the same function or value. Shrubs, on the other hand, is not quite the same because it's still woody vegetation. Some shrubs are basically short trees, I'm oversimplifying, but they do provide a similar benefit. So it is allowed in the business, as they say, to replace with shrubs. You usually have to replace with something more like a 2 to 3 to 1 type of deal, but herbaceous is not. So the Planning Commission went down that road and removed herbaceous cover. I think they removed shrubs in this case just because I think they just did it to make it tree-to-tree replacement. I can say that personally, as someone who is very much aware of how this works and has done many thousands of acres of projects like this, I would not be in favor of keeping the reference to herbaceous perennials and native ground covers in here. I would be in favor of maintaining the shrubs, though, and obviously the trees. Other changes were mostly related to, and there's Maureen could wax poetic on this a little bit. There was some discussion about shall versus will, and how you looked at CPI and all that stuff. I think what you see here reflects that discussion pretty well. I don't think there are any issues with it, but they just were being super careful about the language, so that gave flexibility in terms of how we can assign the fee associated with this. But those were the two primary items as such. So this one reflects, like Maureen was saying, this one reflects all of those changes in here in red.
Right, and the additions are highlighted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. Any other board comment or questions?
Yeah, well, I guess my only thought then is we really haven't have we used tree bank money for buffers, stormwater management buffers? I don't know.
We've put them, we put them along stream banks.
Yeah. Well, we're playing trees near the,
Yeah, which is great, and we haven't, for stormwater management buffers, typically, stormwater buffers are your riparian buffers, and so that's your stream corridors. We love planting trees along stream corridors. That's great when we have access to them. We'd love to do that on some farmlands too, where they have stream corridors, but haven't been able to do as much of it as we probably like. But that would be a key. I think stream corridors would be a key location as we look to plant more trees. They have a great benefit.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking in terms of like, we have some buffer, we've been doing some naturalization of buffers. There's a maintenance to your end. I guess my question is, if we're not using the money for the buffer maintenance, right, then that edit's probably fine, right? If we were in the past, then that might be a problem. The EAC met last week? Yeah. Yes. And there was some concern about the perennials and the grasses, as well as the shrubs as well. So that's why, Jim, you're here tonight. Is there, before you, I guess Jim's the only public comment we have.
No, I'm gonna open it up to you in a heartbeat, Jim.
Yeah.
Just making sure Matt doesn't have anything.
Yep, that's fine. Yeah, I'd just be open to comment, yeah.
Go for it.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jim Bray. I'm a resident of Lower Makefield Township.
You need to
Please
get closer to
to your
the mic.
microphone or check if it's on. He's not flashing the light at us anymore. Oh, no, maybe try the other microphone if.
Okay, hold on, the button was off, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Thumbs
let
up.
me begin.
All right.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jim Bray, and I'm a resident of Lower Makefield Township. I'm also the current chair of the Environmental Commission in Lower Makefield Township. Yes, the EAC is concerned about the wording from the Planning Commission. Quite frankly, it was remiss of me not to attend that Planning Commission meeting because I wasn't aware it was going to be on the agenda through no fault of my own. However, the EAC has a great concern about removing that wording from the ordinance. Firstly, when John, just a few seconds before, was talking about buffers, generally buffers are planted by the developer, okay? And when plants, I guess, in the buffer have to be replaced, I'm not exactly sure how that works. Maybe the township has to replace them, or the developer, I'm not exactly sure. But generally, I don't believe that tree bank funds have been used for that purpose. To give a little context to the discussion, I think we should discuss shortly why we're actually here tonight, the history of the change to this ordinance. When you go back to 2016, that
Mr.
was...
Bray, if you can keep your comments to within our 3-minute range, I think we need to keep the meeting going along a little
Okay.
faster. So I think this board knows the history and appreciates the history of the tree bank ordinance.
Okay, but...
Voted on it like 3 or
Well,
4 times.
maybe not exactly, because, again, this tree bank ordinance modification was brought to the attention of the board by Dave Kratzer, our township manager, earlier this year. He had found out that from 2016 to 2023, not only we were planting trees, but we, in the earlier plan, probably ended up planting roughly about 400 shrubs. And native grasses were called for, too, in that ordinance. However, they were never planted. In the new plan, the 2024 plan, which was done by T. Comida and Associates at the request of Lower Makefield Township, that plan called for the planting of 1,545 trees, 1,319 shrubs, and 1,500 perennials. We think that the exclusion of shrubs and perennials is not in the best interest of the township. I would like to just read the email I sent to the board today, which will take about 1.5 minutes, if that's okay.
Does the board already have the email? If it's already in the record, we don't need to have you read it again.
It's,
Yeah.
okay. I just want to read the last part. The planting of meadows as well as shrubs gives LMT residents a great opportunity to become involved citizens. And I know giving residents this opportunity is important to township management. This fact was clearly demonstrated in the 2016 plan that I had mentioned, where roughly 400 to 500 shrubs and close to 1,000 trees were planted. So the EAC, Chairman Kratzer, Township Manager Kratzer, requested that the EAC, we had a couple of meetings about this to determine the wording. And the EAC came up with some wording, and the Township Manager made some changes to that. And then Manager Kratzer asked me to take it back to the EAC to get the full approval from the EAC. And that's exactly what happened. I don't think this is a huge request. I think it's in the best interest of the township to have a biologically diverse planting plan. And that's what not only planting trees, but shrubs and perennials and native grasses as well. I just want to highlight the fact that anybody has never seen a meadow in full bloom, they should go to Washington Crossing and enter the Bowman's Hill Wildflower Preserve, okay, which has a 5-acre meadow in the front. And I think that once you view something like that, you can view the ecological interest and the beauty of meadows So we feel strongly that those perennials and the native grasses should be included. And again, this plan was approved by Manager Kratzer, Monica Tierney, Alan Dresser, Jim Majewski, and myself in a couple of meetings that we had. So again, I think
Yeah,
this
Jim,
is a
if I could
pretty
just
simple request.
clarify, I mean, ultimately, this is a decision. My observation was, based on what you were saying, was the historic use of these funds was not consistent with the language that was currently in the subdivision land development ordinance.
Right.
So whether you choose to include these items, I was just simply pointing out, based on what was communicated, that these funds have been used in a manner that was inconsistent with the language in the ordinance. That was my point.
So you're looking for consistency. Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
regardless of the decision, again, if the board's decision is to limit it to trees, that's ultimately the prerogative of the Board of Supervisors. We were just trying to reconcile language so that there was no issue with the potential utilization of these funds being inconsistent with the explicit language in the ordinance.
Understand. Yeah.
Right, that's exactly the case, because what Dave had asked us to do is have the EAC approve it so he could give that information to the Board of Supervisors. And ultimately, of course, the board, makes that decision. One last quick item. One of the main concerns is that meadows like this can be covered in short periods of time with invasive plants. That is a possibility. It did not happen at Bowman's Hill Wildflower Preserve, and we don't think it will happen here at Lower Makefield Township for the simple fact that we are at full complement now, thanks to the board that just gave us 2 more people. And by the way, they're real winners. We found that out even during the first minute, so thank you for that. We are going to assign monitoring a meadow as a task for one of our new members. So invasive should not really be an issue when you stay on top of it. We think the request is fairly simple. We would like perennials and especially shrubs to be included in the plan, because I think it's in the interest of Lower Makefield Township, and it's certainly in the interest of the environment.
Appreciate your comments. Thank you. Any other public comment? Anyone online?
So you'd indicated you were open on native shrubs.
On shrubs, absolutely. On herbaceous vegetation, absolutely not. Remember, the goal of a tree replacement ordinance is to replace trees. When we look to, you're talking about buffers, right? On stormwater management buffers?
Well, yeah, and I guess it's the consistency question, which is, does our current tree, we have stuff that would be herbaceous perennials in our upcoming tree planting plan, or no?
Yes, we do. As far as the 2024 plan is concerned, the one thing they were talking about is planting a meadow at the east end of Memorial Park.
So the only thing I'm thinking about is this hasn't been passed yet. So anything that we've previously passed would be fine. Our 2025 plan would be fine, meaning it wouldn't be subject to this. So it would be ongoing forward ones, just so that we know that going forward.
Yeah, but in general, if we want, and I have planted hundreds, if not 1,000 acres of meadow that have to be maintained. We do 5-10-year monitoring periods. We have to have professionals in the field constantly monitoring them, spraying them. They're a huge undertaking and cost many thousands of dollars over years outside of planting them. And then you don't get the same benefit as planting trees when you're replacing trees. That's the consistency question.
I fully understand that. And normally, by the way, if anybody comes and said, yeah, we'll definitely check them out, I would be like suspect, right? But knowing our EAC, I'm less suspect. I guess what I would say is you're okay with native shrubs.
Yes.
Okay.
I do, well, let me caveat that. I do think if we are to use, we should put some type of parameter around it, because not all shrubs are created equal. And I think without trying to regulated in this ordinance.
Yep.
I think when we review shrub planting plans, that we have to be very careful as we go through year to year to make sure that we're putting enough of them to provide proper habitat and the right size, obviously native, all that stuff, so that we're replacing the proper type of habitat as best we can. Because oftentimes native shrubs are early successional to create native forests later on, so they evolve into that and they do quite well.
And again, this is a question, it's a funding question more than anything, so that for the 2026 tree bank plan, there wouldn't be any herbaceous perennials or native ground covers as part of that.
So what we,
Yeah, I don't think you've authorized planning of any of that. I think Jim was just simply pointing out that in the multi-year plan that you've developed, there is some locations that are calling for the potential to be meadowized, right, or
Yeah.
to be planted in a meadowed condition. And so I think he's saying if you're not using tree bank funds, if you wanted to proceed with that plan, we would have to find another funding source in order to do that, which you could do. It doesn't.
there are grants for that.
Correct,
And
correct.
Get them all the time.
So just removing the ability to utilize these funds for that doesn't negate the potential of implementing those improvements.
No, I think where there's an opportunity to find funds to
Right.
plant those types of habitat, and, through other grant sources, I think that was great. We should promote that and go after those as best we can.
Right.
But when it comes to tree bank monies.
Right, yeah.
Paid for trees, I think that's what we have to focus.
I appreciate the desire to be strict about the tree bank ordinance for a couple reasons. One is we've defended it legally
Yeah.
frequently, and definitely want to make sure that that's the case. That being said, I think you would be okay with native shrub, but however, did I make the motion, or did
Matt made the motion.
would the maker of the motion be acceptable to including native shrubs or removing that deletion?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, so with that, I just want for folks to understand that when we have that as part of tree planting plans in the future, as part of the overall solution, we may need to find additional funding sources, including Parish Thought General Fund, but so that I just want folks to understand that that's the trade-off. If my fellow members are okay with that, okay, okay.
If I might add a comment,
We've finished public comment, and that's now board comment, so we're trying to finalize our discussion. It's not an open discussion with the public and the board right now. We had public comment, we closed public comment, and now it's board discussion before we vote.
okay.
Okay? I don't mean to cut you off, but we're trying to maintain the normal course of business here, that's all.
That's fine. Thank you.
But I appreciate everything you've said and all the work you're doing. I want you to know that.
With that, I don't think there's anything else to discuss. We've agreed to add back in native shrubs. So it would be and planting of native trees and native shrubs at approved locations in the township. So
Yep.
you're okay with that?
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay, then that's all I would have.
And then the other changes to the ordinance overall, so people are aware, are we've increased the cost per replacement tree that developers have to pay if they impact the tree. I forget, by about 90 or $100 maybe? It's $450 now, it was $3 something.
374 to 450.
Thank you. And then it's tied to CPI, but we can be flexible in that. That's the other big change that overall in the ordinance has been discussed, and the Planning Commission had a few tweaks to really detailed language.
I would increase the price higher.
I understand.
Actually, it's no less than.
No less.
No less
So you
than.
can if you want to.
Okay, I'll make sure to include that in all upcoming land development
Even
requests.
more.
All right, thank you again.
Thank you. All right, any further board comment? Going once, going twice, all right. Call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, so motion carries 3-0.
So I just want to clarify so we get this, so that we are consistent. So we will add back in, use of funds shall be expanded to include native shrubs, period. Adding shrubs will serve as a complement to trees in establishing a robust vegetative community and a healthy environment. And furthermore, further down, we'll add in native trees and native shrubs at approved locations in the township. Okay, thank you.
And that, our next one, Mr. Bray, before Mr. Bray gets out the door.
Oh, that's right.
We have another tree ordinance on here. Was the EAC involved in that one? Or is this something separate?
They did not have comments to this as far as I know, but Mr. Bray may
Okay.
have opinions or comments. But this is the Saldo ordinance relating to street trees and buffer trees. Again, this was discussed at the most recent Planning Commission. They were, for the most part, fine with it. There was one source of discussion, and that was in section, it's highlighted in your,
Where is it?
in your packet. It was Article,
3, maybe?
and I'm
Or
sorry,
C?
Article 3, I believe, D, as in dog. It has to do with type 3 buffer,
There it
which
is.
are the farmland buffers.
Is it D1?
D1, correct.
I just found it.
Type 3 buffer, D1. The change, it was written that the buffer width shall be 35 feet, in which a 10-foot wide planted area is required on the residential side of the property line. There was a conversation regarding whether or not the planting should be on the residential side or the farmland side. The Planning Commission came down on the farmland side for a variety of reasons. Number one, and primarily because they wanted it to be maintained by farmland preservation. And they wanted it on that side, and they knew that if it was on the residential side, or they surmised that if it was on the residential side, number one, it could go without checking. The residents didn't necessarily have to maintain. Number two, how could we enforce it on the residential side? And number three, it was just more beneficial for farmland preservation to be on the farmland side of the property line. So that was really the only.
I think there was one more where the term backdoor taking was thrown out there. I don't know how legitimate that was, but I know that.
I think that was bantered about, yeah. It
Okay.
was just as, the conversation was that if we planted them on the residential side, it was really a taking of the land of the residents, because you were planting those trees on the residential side, and they would be forced to maintain these trees on their property.
So, with that, would anyone like to make a motion? Oh, I'm sorry, did you?
Not for this one,
Not for
no.
this one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second. So
Yeah, go ahead.
the major part is really in D1 then, on Exhibit B?
Yes, that is the only change. So we struck residential and inserted the word farmland.
9 of 14 in the PDF.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. That's pretty, yeah. Who used the word taking? Can we have forbidden words?
We had two folks discussing it.
Yeah.
I don't
All
know
right.
names.
So that's fine by me.
I'm in favor of this approach too. I think it simplifies things and makes it much easier for us to ensure that the buffer is maintained.
It's control.
Yeah.
Which is helpful.
Yeah. I don't,
Yeah, and if everybody can't find it, I did find it. It's in Exhibit B, under Section 178-82, buffer yards, C1. Oh, D1.
D1.
D1, sorry,
Yeah,
D1.
And farmland preservation has had this issue where buffer trees are on the property of residents and then encroach or have other issues that have issues with farmland preservation, including fence issues that they've had to deal with. Yeah, so this is fine.
when I was the liaison for farmland, I think their biggest effort annually were the letters to
Yep, yeah.
their neighbors about buffers. They put in a huge effort there. I think farmland would probably prefer that the buffers lean more towards the residents so they get more farmable land.
Right.
But, I don't know that I can get on board with that just because I want this to be maintained. And I would love to see us be able to plant some way, shape, or form, getting back to our stream corridor discussion. Our farmlands in town and historically are notorious, not farmland preservation specifically, I'm not calling them out, but agricultural lands are notorious for not planting stream buffers. So you have lots of fertilizers and pesticides running into the streams, which is probably our biggest issue with water quality, even more so than land development historically here. So that may be something we have to address in the future. But anyway, I'm in favor of this, and we have a motion and a second. Any more board comment? Any public comment? I don't know if the EAC didn't have any.
No, the EAC has no comments, so I think it's a good idea.
Okay. EAC has no comments. They think it's a good idea. I won't make them get up to the microphone. Thank you, Mr. Bray. All right. Any other public comment? Nobody online? No one online. All right. With that, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And no one's opposed, so it carries 3-0. All right, supervisor reports. I think we just covered everything that I was going to bring up from the Planning Commission, so I'm all good. Mr. Lewis?
Let's see, I think, the Disability Advisory Committee has, post their meeting, is actively encouraging our state legislators to complete a budget because the Bucks County Center for Independent Living is without funding. And that means folks that rely on its services can't receive them. So they are doing that separate from their normal meeting work. And I just want to, if you have the chance to talk to your legislators, it's always important to remind them how important that is, and I'm sure that they know a fair amount about that. The HRC will be meeting next week and has received a case that has gone through review of our solicitor. And that will be reviewed later. And that's all I have.
On the Disability Advisory Board, did they ask us to do any sort of outreach on their behalf either, or they as well, or is they?
I had suggested that they write separately as their on their own, just to make sure that they have the most impact
Okay.
for them. But yeah,
If there's anything they want us to do.
yeah, I would certainly be open to that as well.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Ross?
No report?
All right, there we go. And let's see, Supervisor McCartney never was able to join us, correct? No, he never came on. Okay. Hope he's doing well. Supervisor Blundy's unable to attend. No discussion items tonight. Any other business? I don't think we have any, okay. Appointments and reappointments. We might be able to do a couple of reappointments tonight. We have one person for the Historical Commission who is expired, and then one person for the Human Relations
do
Commission.
those if you're
Want to do
fine
those?
with
Okay,
those.
please.
Mr. Chair, I move. Pardon me, as I put back the, before I get nicked on that. Mr. Chair, I move that we appoint Melody Yao to the Human Relations Commission as our student member.
Second?
All right. Comments, public or board? No? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, welcome back. Next.
Before I mention the next one, I'd like to move that we reappoint Monica Hinden to the Historical Commission, whose term has recently expired.
Second?
All right.
And also, too, just a reminder, coming up next month is the Slate Hill Cemetery Tour. You don't want to miss it. By the way, you want to get tickets early. You want to get your tickets early. It will sell out. I'm making this pitch now. Monica would make the pitch if she were here, Monica Hinden.
She's great at the pitches.
She does wonderful at the pitches, and we've had Tony Award-winning actors do reenactments, or at least I believe they won. I don't know if they won the award or nominated for a Tony, but
They know what the award is.
they know what the award
Yeah.
is, right? So she's been a linchpin on the Historical Commission, and remind everybody to get those tickets soon. With that,
Any public comment? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome back, Ms. Hinden. I believe that's it on appointments or reappointments for tonight. Just like item number 5, number 16 is additional public comment on agenda items if needed. If you have any public comment on something that was not on the agenda, please come up to the podium, state your name, whether or not you're a resident, and please try to keep it to 3 minutes. Any public comment? Anyone online?
No one online.
All right. With that, I will move it to item 17, which is adjournment. Thank you for joining us, and have a great night.